Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in less than 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's jump right into it. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dr. Nicole Price. I am a chemical engineer by undergraduate degree, even though my personality incredibly disagrees. And what I do for a living is I help leaders who have trouble getting difference to get along and be productive on their teams, turn that thing around and turn their team into high-performing teams.
I love it. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
For me, because I'm incredibly extroverted, I like the idea that once you're clear on a goal, you've got multiple perspectives, being able to brainstorm possible solutions. I also love the idea that the implementation strategy that I might have come up with might not be the best. It could be improved. And when you have multiple people there, you can come up with a much better way to be able to do so. And I find that when I'm working by myself, even though things can go faster in the beginning, sometimes the final result is not nearly as smart.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Thank you. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell me your thoughts.
It absolutely can be a challenge to get team members engaged. And the cleanest way I can explain what the simple answer to that problem is that although we know better, we know that everyone on the team is engaged by something different. We know that because people are different. However, when we think about engagement strategies, they usually are very much one size fits all. We're going to do this team development exercise, or we're going to give the group this particular uh, reward or prize or recognition for doing a good job. And so one of the pieces of advice that I give leaders all the time, it's that engagement is actually directly tied to personal accountability, and that feels a little incongruent. But wherever people feel like they have some control over their role and they know specifically how they can help drive the mission forward, even if your job is scooping poop or making seats for a pickup truck or doing anything else that someone might feel like is not that rewarding and inspiring, if I'm clear on what the goal is and I'm clear on what my specific role is, you'll see engagement on the team go up.
That's great insights. I love that. Thank you. Question number 4, what other piece of advice would you give to leaders of teams?
No matter how homogeneous your team looks, it is incredibly diverse. And I know when I say the words diversity and inclusion, most of the time people think about what I call the usual suspects: race, gender, sexual orientation. And those are very unique challenges. I spend my time trying to get leaders to get their heads around those unique challenges. But even if everyone on your team had the same background as you, if they all look the same as you, have the same religion as you, we're all different. Case in point, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're talking about opening up businesses. And because that not everyone has the same experiences, we haven't thought about what needs to be in place first, which is childcare. If I don't have anything to do with my kiddo, it's going to be really hard for me to work remotely or otherwise. And so that's just one minor example of what it looks like for leaders when they think engagement has been stifled. I say, diversity, yes, it's about the usual suspects, but diversity makes you smarter. I've said again, I said it on the second question, but if you can think about bringing diverse perspectives to light, even if you look homogeneous, you'll find that engagement will go up as well.
I love those insights. I love them because I completely agree with you also. So it's fantastic. It's always good when you can agree. You're absolutely right. I absolutely love that. So thank you for sharing that. 5th question, what other successful leaders of teams, such as yourself, would you like to recognize or that you felt like have had a positive influence in your life?
I'd like to highlight a man named Jim Shockey. Now, Jim Shockey, he's not living anymore, but he was one of the first people who taught me what it looked like to, one, skip past my unconscious bias. So not look at what I'm seeing, but look at what I'm getting.
Mm.
And he was rough around the edges. He smoked cigarettes like a chimney, and he swore all the time. And none of those things, I would say, are the things that make him one of the best leaders. What I think makes him the best leader is he valued people who had PhDs in common sense. So if you had been working in a production line for any length of time, he valued that experience. But he also valued people who had theoretical or academic experience. So you could be fresh out of school, as I was, and he would bring you in on the team to see how the theory would mirror or violate what had been done from a practical level. And he would bring those things together to help us make a project work better. So he would do that around tenure. He would do that around, were you born in the country or in rural environments? He just had an uncanny ability to bring everybody together around one shared idea, which was how are we going to get high quality, low cost, effective, on time product out of a manufacturing plant. And I've learned the most about difference from this guy from Western Kansas in the middle of Leavenworth County.
Wow, sounds like a great individual and obviously had a great influence on you. That's great. Sixth and final question. Tell us a little bit about your first job.
So I got to be the shampoo girl. That was my title in a small, actually, it was a fairly large beauty salon. But what I learned the most in being there was that the owner, she was very interesting. The customer could never be wrong, and not in the cliche kind of way. So if they called and made an appointment, perfect. If they walked in, perfect. If they went outside, screwed their hair up, and needed it to be fixed right after she had done it, perfect. If they'd done a home box kit, I mean, she would look as if it was the most natural thing to do to try to color your own hair. And while I learned a lot about just being flexible from a customer standpoint, I learned that people will continue to come to you because you make it easy for them to continue to come to you.
Yeah,
And I learned the value of customer service in that job. I also learned a lot of gossip too, but
I love it. Well, definitely some great lessons that have continued to influence you today. So that's great. Thank you so much. Dr. Price, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
livelyparadox.com is the address of my business. And if you want to send me a direct email, info@livelyparadox.com is regularly managed and scheduled. And if you are interested in getting a sample coaching session, or if you have a unique issue with helping difference get along on your team, set up a 20-minute call and see if I can help you.
That sounds great. Well, this is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful day.